Hello my crafty friends and welcome to my craft room. This channel is all about different types of paper crafts, from making journals to mini albums to lap books and all sorts of other fun things. If you find value here, please click the like button, leave me a comment, I love to have a chat with you guys. And also don't forget to subscribe and click that bell button so you are notified of all new videos. You can also find me on other social media, so make sure you check out those links below too. Right, let's get crafting. Hello everyone, so I am back working with the Monochrome Alice kit. If you remember from the last video, I am taking part in a swap in the Junk Journaling UK Facebook group. The swap is to make 3 tags and 3 altered paper clips. In the last video I made the tags, so I just want to show you how they were finished, because last time I didn't have them all completely complete by the end of the video because I had to go and pick up my daughter. So I wanted to show you now. So this was the first tag. This is the one that had the pocket. So I just added some lace at the top, and I quite like this because it reminded me a little bit of a crown. So I thought that was quite nice. And then again, it's just sewn around, a little bit of journaling space. And then this is the other part of the tag. So we've got the clock, some lace, and then the bits that I added from the last video was a little charm with a heart, and then just a little bit of fabric, and then it's the same fabric that I've also used at the top there. Again, it's all sewn round, and some space on the back for some journaling. So that was one of the tags. The next one, I've used the same fabric at the top for all 3 of them. It also had this little tag attached with a heart-shaped brad. I've got a dangle on the front, and again the lace at the bottom, all sewn around, and lots of space on the back for some journaling. So that was tag number 2. And then the final one, again added the same material, and I added a little key charm at the bottom here as well. And then obviously this was all collaged and stuck on, and then there's space at the back for some more writing. So they're my 3 tags. They were all finished last time. So today we're on to the altered paper clips. So I didn't want to do 3 of the same paper clips. I'm doing 3 different ones. I have done a little bit of prep work just to save some time. So the 3 types of tags that I want to do a banner paper clip. I also want to do a dangle paper clip, and then a wrapped paper clip. Okay, so as I said, I have prepared some bits and pieces. So I think we'll start with the banner one. So I am using a large paper clip for this one. So these are quite big. Your standard paper clip is normally about that size. So I'm using the large one for this. And then I have some different bits of lace ready. I had this brad from last time. It's like a little butterfly, so I thought I'd use that. I've cut out a couple of words, and then these are from this page where I had lots of different small journaling cards. So I've just cut 2 of them out, and I thought I might layer them a little bit, maybe use a decorative punch down at the bottom just to make it a little bit prettier. And then yeah, this is going to form the banner on the paper clip. Okay, so we'll start with just decorating these edges. So because I'm going to layer these and it's going to be a bit staggered like that, this one, the top one, I'm just going to round the corners, and I've got this one which has 3. I'm going to use the smallest one just because I only want a slight rounded corner, just so it's not so harsh. So just slightly rounding, and then I will ink them in a moment as well. Is that enough? Yeah, that's plenty. Okay, and then I've got this one that's quite fancy. I recently got this from a D-Stash group, but I thought this flower might be quite nice. So I'm just going to pop it in and see how that comes out. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, can you see that there? So that's how that's come out. I really like that. That's very pretty. Okay. Right, so that's then going to be layered on top of that. I will do some inking in a moment. And then this top part is what's going to be wrapped around the paper clip. Okay, so let's ink those edges first. So again, I'm just going to use my tuxedo black, since we have the black and white theme. And it's just really to define the edge, because where I've had to trim this down so that it fits the paper clip, I've kind of lost the grungy border that the card naturally had anyway where I designed it. So it's just kind of putting that grungy edge back so it just stands out a bit better now to this one. And then I am going to add a little bit of ink around this one as well. Okay, so that's going to be layered on top of there like that. I was also thinking of having a little bit of lace there, but I also quite like lace as well. I may snip out those bits, and I am going to use my smaller scissors today because last time I was struggling with the larger scissors. Just because where I've now punched out those fancy corners, I still want to be able to see them, so I'm just snipping away around that edge because I'm thinking that might look pretty if it's kind of dangling in between. So something like that, and then that just coming down the bottom. Yeah, okay, right, let's glue some bits in place, shall we? So we don't need all of that, so let's trim that one. Like I said, I tried to get as many bits out as I could before I started filming because I thought I did not want to be spending time obviously fetching things. So I kind of thought ahead, thought about how I wanted things, just to save some time. So I'm going to stick that one down there. And then kind of want that one. Whoops, I can never tell what way round these are supposed to go. I'm sure there's somebody who knows more than I do. That way looks better, so let's go over this one with the glue. Now I'm using Collal glue, it's the all-purpose glue. It does dry clear. So that's going to go there in a minute. Okay. Okay. That gets glued on there like so. Right, and then I've got these words as well. I think I'm just going to do the bit that wraps around the banner. So I was trying to work this out earlier. So I want it that way round. So I've got the long piece at the top and then this short piece down the bottom, because you're going to wrap, if you pull that backwards, around both of those pieces. So if I create a little fold where I want it, so I am going to slightly go over the dodo's head, just ever so slightly, and that's going to be where my fold is. And then with my paper clip, making sure it's the right way up, so let's just figure this out. Yeah, no, it was that way, wasn't it? Yeah, and then it's got to slide. Hang on, what way does this want to go? So paper clips have a particular way that they slot on the paper, so I'm just going to check that. So if you see, when I try pulling this back up, it now catches, so that's obviously not the way that it goes, which means that this little bit wants to come to the front, and then it slides off a lot better. Do you see that? So that's the way it's supposed to go. So I need my paper clip this way round. Okay, so it just slides straight off. If I do it the other way, I'll show you again. This bit here starts digging into the paper, and that's when you kind of get those scratches and tears in the paper. So yeah, I wanted that the other way round, like that, and then that pulls off nicely. Okay, so that's the way round that I want my paper clip. So while it's on there, because it might make it easier, the bit that I folded, I'm just going to tuck underneath, and I'm going to push it all the way down so that the whole paper clip is on there. And then I'm just going to line it up so it's a bit even on either side, and then that is going to come down like that, and then that is your banner paper clip. Okay, that's basically how it's going to look when it's all glued down. So all I need to do now is to add some glue, and you're going to want some strong glue for this, because obviously you want it all to stay in place. So again, I'm going to use the Collal glue. It does, as I say, dry clear. I also find that it's an extremely strong glue. You do have to hold it for a few moments just to make sure that it grabs. So I'm just going to do that. I am going to try and take it off just so I can push it in from the back. So again, just making sure that it's lined up, and then holding it down from the back. Okay. Right, so that is the banner one done. So I'm going to let that dry, but while it's drying, as I said, I've got these words here. So I wanted Explore Wonderland. Now I think Wonderland might be a little bit too long, so I'm just going to trim that down slightly. And so that they look like they belong, I'm going to trim that one down as well. I mean, do I just have Wonderland? No, Explore Wonderland. Okay, so a bit of glue on the back. These are nice and easy to make, these types of altered paper clips. So Explore Wonderland. Okay, there we go. So nice and easy to make. It just hooks over the paper clip. Obviously I know that glue is still drying, but that's pretty much how it looks. So you just pop it onto the side of your page in your journal, and that's how that one looks. Okay, so that's the first altered paper clip. My next one, I think I'll work on the dangle next. So again, I've got some bits organised. So I'm going to be using 2 small paper clips. I've got some little beaded bits that I've put together already. I'm no good at putting beads on these. These did take me a little while to do. I've also got that brad that I was talking about earlier. And then I found in my stash these things. So this is obviously supposed to be an earring, but it's where you put an image in and then you've got the little glass bit that goes over the top. So I punched out from this ephemera page little circles. So I drew round the glass piece around some different images. So I tried it first with the rabbit's face, but it was too high and I had a lot of white space. So I tried again. I've got still a lot of white space. Sorry, you probably can't even see that down there because it's so teeny tiny. So it's still got a lot of white space. So I picked a different image and I thought I'd go with Alice. So teeny tiny Alice, where she's just peeking behind the curtain. So I picked a different one, but that's off of that tag there. So what I thought is I'll take this earring bit off and then I can use this at the bottom of my dangle. And then I've got a few of these teeny tiny little jump rings just to kind of put it all together. So I thought I would wrap these. Now I have done a tutorial on how to make very simple altered paper clips, wrapping paper around them. This is just a strip off the side of one of the journaling pages that I had from last time. And I'm just going to use this to wrap around. So all I'm going to do is, just to get myself started, I'm just going to tuck it underneath that first bit. And the size of this strip, I think it's just under 1 inch, and then it fits so that I have still a teeny tiny space either side of the piece of paper. I'm actually thinking I might trim that down a little bit more, and I am going to freehand it, only because you don't need a lot of paper anyway. So I'm just going to trim it down ever so slightly, a little bit more. I'm not normally very good at freehanding, so, but yeah, I've literally just cut that slither off. So I'm going to again wrap around. So that's a bit better. Do you see what I mean? So you've got a gap either side of the paper, and then you can obviously do your jump rings and stuff. So again, I'm just going to fold it over, and I'm going to put a little blob of glue there. And fold it over. As I say, this just needs a moment to grab, so I'm just going to hold it in place for a moment, and then I'm just going to start wrapping around. Now, how many times you wrap around is entirely up to you. It only needs to be done really a couple of times, so I'm just going to trim this here. I'm going to create the fold first, just so that it does actually want to bend, and then I'm going to add my glue. Okay, and again, just going to hold that in place for a moment just so it can grab. And there we go. And then we're going to do the same for the second one. Ooh. Hold. So just going to slot it underneath there. Bring it around. I'm going to add my glue. Hold it for a moment just so it grabs, and wrap around. Oh, trying to make sure that I actually wrap straight. going to snip and fold and apply some glue. Okay, so they're my wrapped paper clips. Okay, so first things first, let's put that needle back because you know that I will forget about that later. Right, so I need to take this off, so I'm going to do that first. The nice thing about these kind of dangles is obviously you can use what you have and have a play around with what you want to add to them. I'm making obviously quite a long dangle. They don't have to be as long as I'm making them. You can use whatever papers you like, so it's a great way really to use up some scraps, isn't it? If you've got lots of strips of paper. Have some really great scraps. Okay, so Alice is in there. I'm just going to pop some glue in again. Like I said, the collal does dry clear, so I can pop a blob of glue straight onto Alice. And pop that over the top. Okay, there's my Alice charm. We'll give you a close-up in a moment once we're all done. I'll use that brad for something else actually, for the other one. Right, so let's have a think how we want to do this. So I need a jump ring at the top with my hook. So this bit gets very fiddly. As I say, I am by all means not an expert in doing these. I'm not very good with teeny tiny fiddly things, I must admit. Whoops. And I think I'm going to add another jump ring and the hook. Try and pin these back together. Okay. Right, so that's the first bit done. So now I need to attach my first paper clip. So let's find where we need to split them. There we go. When my tools haven't been used so long, they've gone a bit stiff. It took me a little while this morning to just try and loosen them up a bit, but yeah, so you've got the start of a dangle. Okay, now you could keep it as simple as that. You could embellish this a little bit, lots of different things that you could do. I'm going to leave it like that for a minute, though I am thinking, I punched out these hearts, they're actually for something else, but I'm quite liking them. Right, if I've got this down the bottom, I'm thinking I want the black one, so I'm going to put a jump ring then to connect these two pieces. And that one. That's those two. Okay, and then I'm going to keep going. Another jump ring. Oh. I'm feeling that this might be a bit long, so I'm going to add that last angle, and then I might use this over on my last altered paper clip. Right, last bit on there then. And there we have our second altered paper clip. Okay, so for the final one, this was actually inspired by Louise. I can't remember her last name, begins with a H, I'm sure you know who I mean. And I'm going to be using a large paper clip again, but this one is coated in white. And it's going to be wrapped on the back and the front for this one. So a similar technique to what we just did with these, where it's wrapped around. We're going to do it in two sections, so just wrap the front and then the small part at the back. So again, I was looking at these two pockets instead of using the backing sheet, because these are much smaller images. I was thinking of either going with the clocks or the bottles. I like both, so I'm not sure. What should we go for? I think I might go, I do like the bottles. Oh, tricky. I'm going to go with the clocks. Why not? Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is just obviously trim off this bottom piece, because I know I definitely don't need the tabs for the pockets since we're not using them as pockets. So that can definitely come off. And then I know I can obviously cut it up here. And down there. Okay, so similar to the smaller ones, I just need to make sure that I've got the right size. So again, a little bit of the paper clip is poking out at both the bottom and the top. So I'm going to hold it here, and I'm just going to make a little marker with one of my pens. Okay, and then I'm just going to get my trimmer and trim that down. I'm not going to do it freehand because it will end up extremely wonky. Just trimming the bottom edge because, as I say, my cutting isn't always fantastic, so just to make sure that it's straight both sides. Okay, I also now then need it to be able to wrap around. So I might need my trimmer in a minute, so I'm going to leave it out. So again, I'm just going to do the test into what side scratches and what side doesn't. Ah, brilliant, so that fits perfectly like that. So make sure my clocks are the right way up. I'm going to slot this underneath. Same as last time, I am going to make a fold over. So I've just made a little fold just to indicate where it's going. And I'm not going to push down too hard yet because I want to slot this back on. And I'm just going to press it up against the paper clip like that. And then I'm going to roll this one around. like so. Again, you want it fairly tight because you don't obviously want it coming off. And then I'm just going to slide that out. I'm going to trim this a little bit. And then this is where we're going to glue. So just to make sure it's tight, I am going to slot that on there. And I'm going to, as I say, just make sure it is nice and tight around there. And then I'm going to glue this in place. Okay, so this is going to be the bit for the front. This obviously goes on our largest one. So again, you just wanted to make sure that it is, so this does fit quite snugly on there. It's not loose, it's not hard to come off. It fits really nicely on there. And we're going to do the same and make one for the bottom. Now, when I watched Louise's tutorial, she was saying that obviously you could make the back piece as large or small as you like, so you could try and cover the entire back of the paperclip, because obviously once this is on a page you would see this paperclip, so you could make it so you cover this whole bottom piece up. You could try and come up further if you like. I'm going to come to just below the end of this side, but it's personal preference, it's entirely up to you how you would like to make yours. So again, I might as well use the same clock. So I'm just going to take this one off for a moment. And I'm going to do the same. So as I said, I'm just going to come just below that point there. And I'm just going to make a little mark again with my pen. As to where I would like it to finish. So again, it's all personal preference, so I'm going to want it about there. So according to this, that's 1 1/4 inches. That's how tall this one is. So that's going to go around there. And again, you want to make sure it's tight. The only thing you want to consider is obviously you're not going to continue wrapping around, because this piece here is obviously what would be on the front. So you do have to be mindful of that if you are going to wrap around for another layer. So I'm going to slide that off. And then I'm going to go by this as my guide. So obviously that's the tube I've made. So I'm going to keep following it round. And then I'm going to cut just behind here. I'm going to put my glue on. Going to close it up. And then while the glue's still wet, I'm just going to slide it back on, because now I can still play around and reposition it if I need to. Okay, so as you can see, that is inside these two back pieces. Okay, and then that'll be the back piece. So I'm just going to again pull that off. It is still nice and snug, and that's going to be the bit that goes on the back. Okay, so here comes the fun bit. This is the embellishing part. So we've got the front and back. Now Louise, when she did hers, and I will link her video, sorry, down below, because hers was beautiful, just absolutely stunning how she did them. She uses lots of different mixed media techniques, which she's obviously very well known for. I do want to do a little bit of embossing, so I've got those bits out. I just want to grab my stencil. So I have this stencil, again just to add some texture really. I am going to add just a little bit to some areas. Now I do want to put again a little dangle here at the bottom, so I only want to do some embossing at the top. I'm going to use this pattern, and I'm just going to put it at a slight angle. I might go that way just because obviously we've got the clock faces there, so I might go at this angle a little bit. I'm just going to place my stencil over the top, and I'll just move those bits out of the way, and then I'm going to just press down with my pad, hopefully just getting some of that juiciness on the other side. I'm going to move that away. I know you can't see anything at the moment. Just going to grab a scrap piece of paper, slide that under there. This is Mirror Platinum. That's what I'm going to put over the top. Now, if I'd have used an anti-static brush, I would have got much more sort of finer details, but I don't mind that it's not really defined, because obviously it's just there to add texture. So I'm just going to put that to the side and pop this back in there. Okay. And I am going to heat set. I'm going to turn the sound off for this bit, otherwise it gets very, very noisy. Okay, so that's how that looks. So it's just giving it a little bit of a shimmer, and again just something else, another texture on there. Okay, so now that we've done that, I do want to punch a hole and add an eyelet at the bottom, but I can't do that until I have slotted this back on. So I'm just going to pop that back in place on here. Oh, actually, something else that Louise did, she rounded these corners. I think I might do the same. So I am going to do the 7mm ones though this time. That didn't cut very straight, so I'm just going to even that out a little bit. And then on the top one, I am going to do just the little corners. Okay, so again, just going to pop that back on there. So again, it just gets rid of those sort of harsh lines. Right, and then at the bottom, Louise had an eyelet, so I think I want to do the same. So I'm just going to pull my paper down a little bit just so I can punch the hole and do the eyelet. Okay, unfortunately I haven't got any black eyelets, So I'm going to use silver, since I used obviously some silver up here. I'm just going to push that through. And the nice thing about using the eyelet is that also helps with securing that now on here. So that's obviously not going to go anywhere now. And then for the back, I don't know if I want another dangle. That's what I'm now thinking. I think I might put this on. So I just want a teeny tiny hole. I think that one might even be too big. Right, let's have a look. I'm just going to go up the middle. Actually, I'm not going to do it with that, only because I do think it's going to be too big. So I'm going to get my pokey tool. And I'm going to make it a hole with this instead. Now it's okay that it goes all the way through, because again it will kind of hold it in place then, so it won't fall off once it's obviously all attached. So I'm just going to make sure that those go through. Yeah, they do. And I think, yeah, I am just going to trim those a little bit. So I'm going to use this tool just to trim them down, because I don't want them sticking out. So let's pop this on. Oh, that's going to make it tricky, isn't it? Oh, I didn't think of that. Because I'm now not going to be able to, I'm going to have to lift it up a bit. So pop those through. And fiddly job. See, maybe in hindsight I would have done the brad first before I did the front. So if you're watching and you're doing the same, note to self, do the brad first. But that's how it looks anyway. So we have that on that side and that on that side, and I think that looks so pretty. So at least now when it's on a page, this will now slot on. You'll at least have something nice to look at on one side and then something else on the other. So I like that. That's really nice. Okay. Right. So I think I'm going to start adding some bits on now. So I have this ball pen that I've just added a couple of beads to. Now this is quite a big bead, so it doesn't obviously go round the bend. So what I'm going to do is just take it off for a minute so I can put this on the bottom here, then pop it back on and close it up. Oh, actually no, that's not going to work either, is it? I think I want it the other way, don't I? Hang on. Yeah, okay, that's fine. What we can do is push this up. All trial and error. I've not made one of these before, so we are working it out. So I want it this way round. Sorry, I hope you can still see what I'm doing. It is very fiddly. I'm trying to make sure that you can see what I'm up to. Okay. Although I think that's going to be intrusive now on the page, so I am going to take that off again after all that. After all that fuss. Let's take that off. Yeah, because I don't think once you've got the page on there that it's going to sit very well. So I think we're just going to leave that one off. Okay, so back to this side. Let's put you away over there. So I've got this nice long dangle. So again, I think we're going to use a bulb pin. Might as well use this one since that plan didn't work. So we'll take those off. And oh, pop you on here. Can we do that? Okay, so like that. And then I'm thinking off the end, we can have this hanging off. So that it looks like that. Let's just see how that fits on a page, because that's the thing I'm concerned about, is making sure that it all fits on the page, which that does. Okay, that's good. That works quite nicely. Let's just check, yeah. And do I want to add that one? Do I want to add that one as well? Let's have a look. Another bead, but there is another altered paper clip. Yeah, I quite like that. So you've got a nice dangle coming off the end, which you can of course remove if you don't like it on there, and then just something decorative on the back, so you're not just seeing a paper clip on the back. So yeah, that's the back of that one. But yeah, I just think that is so pretty and really easy enough to put together. It wasn't too taxing, just a little bit of trial and error I think with that ball pin and those pins. Right, okay, I'm going to have a little clear up of my desk and then I'll bring everything back so you can kind of see everything all together. So these are all the different pieces that I made for the swap. So just a reminder, it was a swap challenge in the Junk Journaling UK Facebook group. I will put the link down below if you want to go and have a look at the group and the different swaps that go on. So the challenge was to make three altered paper clips and 3 tags for the swap. The theme was black and white, and then I just chose to use my monochrome Alice kit. It has been such fun working with this kit. I'm very tempted to recreate these for myself because I think they've just turned out beautifully. I really, really love these. And I think they would look fabulous in any journal. I just really hope the recipient loves them as much as I do. Now these don't get posted out until the end of the month, so I won't find out until March whether the recipient likes them and has enjoyed them. But I know I had fun making them, and for me, that's what counts. Well, thank you very much for joining me and watching again today. If you would like to play with this kit yourself, I will put the Etsy link down below. Remember, for the first week that is in my store, there is a discount code, so make sure that you take advantage of that and go and get it while it's on discount. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye bye.